welcome to Behind the Badge and Happy New Year. I'm Alan Rodbell, Chief of Police in the City of Scottsdale. With me is Chris Vassal, our Community Liaison. Hi Chris, Happy New Year.
Thank you, same to you.
I think we had a great 2014 and it's amazing how quick it went by. But we had some great times, great successes. Crime rate continues to be the lowest in the city's history. It was a safe year. We were picked as one of the, I guess we've always been the top 10 safest cities in America, but a number of sites found us as high as number 2 safe city in America.
Amazing.
In Arizona. And so it's been a great year for us. And so this next year is just absolutely going to rock and roll.
I know, and this month, starting with all the special events and things in the Super Bowl coming, I mean, there's so many things happening in Scottsdale.
We've got 3 large bowl games. We've got ESPN that's going to be on property. We have obviously the Barrett-Jackson in the beginning of the year as well. And of course, a very small golf tournament takes place here in Scottsdale.
Just a small one.
Just a small one. And last year we had record-breaking crowds. On the Saturday of the event, we almost doubled our population just that one day.
Was how many thousands of people?
I think it was almost close to 220,000 people.
Just on one day, right?
Coming through the gate.
Unbelievable.
And so I anticipate this year is going to be even larger. And we're well prepared for it.
Well, and of course it'll be larger because of all the other things that are happening in Arizona. And what better place to be than in Arizona in January?
This time of year is right. And so we've been planning for this for over a year. And it's not just the city of Scottsdale. This has been a complete regional planning with help from the federal authorities, from local authorities. All the cities are partnering. This is going to be a great time of year and a great place to be.
And although the Super Bowl isn't actually held in Scottsdale, there are a ton of events that happen in Scottsdale. And I guess they can get the information on that on the web page on what's happening in the city for those events, because I'm sure a lot of people would probably be interested in attending them.
Absolutely. Now, for the local residents, you've got Citizens Academy coming up soon?
The Citizens Academy for spring 2015. Can you believe that?
I can't believe it.
Holy lowly. March 4th through May 13th.
Okay.
So I already have I think 12 applications already. So I only usually take a class about 25. So if you're interested, please get the application in.
Okay. So real quickly, it's how many weeks?
It's 11 weeks.
Okay.
So it runs March 4th through May 13th on 11 consecutive Wednesday evenings. And then in the fall, remember, we do September through November, and it's on Thursday evenings.
Okay, sounds great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay,
You're
if you're interested, go ahead and apply. It's a free, and people just rave about it. They just love the experience. You get to see everything you could possibly want to see and learn about the police department.
Absolutely, and yeah, with everything that's happening across the country, I mean, this is a great time to really get to learn about your police department and who they are and who represents you.
Okay, so today's program is really all about you. Because,
it is.
Because this is really your office,
I'm so
isn't
excited.
This is really your office.
First it was the PAs of my past, now it's my present. I mean, how lucky am I?
It's like the Christmas Carol.
It is.
Okay, good.
This is a Christmas show today.
I guess that makes me Jacob Marley or something. But anyway, pardon my change. Anyway, why don't you go ahead and introduce our guest? This is your office, and we can talk about the PIO function.
Well, it's kind of interesting because not only last was it November. I mean, time goes so fast. Our sergeant and our PIO, Mark and Dave, Sergeant Clark and Officer Pubin, retired.
And PIO stands for Public Information Officer.
Right, and so they retired in November, and we have 2 new faces in the PIO office. To my immediate right is Sergeant Ben Hoster and Officer Kevin Watts, and then our volunteer in the PIO office who does so much for us. And I'm sorry, John isn't here as well, another volunteer. Right. But Bob Stump is here as well. So you guys, welcome to our show.
Welcome, guys. And this is a new assignment, so folks will be seeing you guys on television for the first time and wondering, who are these guys? because our PIO office has been pretty steadily populated with the same folks for the last, I don't know.
Well, Sergeant Clark was here over 10 years, and Dave as well. He had been here for quite a while. So this is a new transition, and it's an exciting time, and we have new people, and so we want to introduce them to our audience.
And so just so people don't wonder what happened to them, they both retired to their second careers, and they're having a great time. They're both doing really, really well.
Someday.
So anyway, so welcome, guys. Really appreciate you being here. So you're new to the office, so maybe you can just give us a little idea of a little bit of your background, because actually all 3 of you have been guests in the past, and you go back, we say 13 years, 14 years, 15
years ago.
Yeah, so a long time ago. even predates me a little bit, I think.
Yes, last time I was on, it was with Chief Bartosh.
Yeah, so it's been a long time. And when you were on before, what position were you in?
I was in the park unit. I was a
Okay.
bike officer in the park unit at that time.
Okay. So what other experience do you bring to this new job?
Oh, let's see. I started out as a patrol officer, then I went to the park unit as a bike officer, dealt with park-related crimes and things like that. Then I went over and became a field training officer. After that, I moved on to detectives and worked in the property crimes division. After that, I was able to promote to sergeant, where I worked as a patrol sergeant, and then later was able to work at the Phoenix Police Academy as an academy sergeant for 2 years, and that was a fun experience working with the new guys and gals. After that, I went back to the road, and then before this spot, I became a bike sergeant in the downtown district for a short time, and then this spot came open, and I was lucky enough to get it.
So you brought a lot of experience to the table, and certainly great knowledge of policing, and especially policing here in the city of Scottsdale.
Right.
So what attracted you to this job? I mean, this is sort of a
Me.
this is a little bit. Yeah.
It was absolutely
Me.
Chris.
Yeah.
I wanted to come work with Chris. That was the only reason.
When you leave, I'll ask you, why'd you leave the job? Doesn't mean she's the same.
Consistency.
No,
But seriously, you know, this is a high pressure job.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
you
is.
have to be really on top of things, because at any given moment, you know, wake you up in the middle of the night, you got to come in and deal with issues that are happening at that moment. So, what attracted you to this?
I looked at it as a challenge for me, and I thought it would be something that really piqued my interest for my talents, I guess. I speak Spanish. I brought, before I came to this job, I was a fluent Spanish speaker, so I figured that I could help in that area as well, and I just enjoy getting the message out and talking.
And Ben, you've done some temporaries in the position before,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
Yes, and
Mhm.
thank
Yeah.
you for that.
You're welcome.
Well, welcome. Exciting. We'll talk about a little bit of the functionality in just a second. But Kevin, you have a wealth of background and experience as well. In fact, you're one of my trainers when I learned how to ride for the mounted unit.
Yes, sir.
So I appreciate you getting me through that safely and in one piece. But talk a little bit about your
Yeah,
background.
I've been very
please.
fortunate. I've gotten to do a lot of different things here at the department. Next month on the 4th, I enter year 21 with the city. So in that time, like Ben, I worked patrol for a number of years in multiple districts. I left patrol, went to the bike unit, and I was on the bike unit for 6 years, where most of our time was spent in our downtown entertainment district. I then worked in persons crimes for several years, both in domestic violence and in the gang unit when it was first starting. I went from there to the mounted unit. So I was at the mounted unit for almost 5 years, and that's where we had interaction a little bit when you came through our school. Most recently, I spent the last 4 years as the crime prevention officer for our downtown district, downtown entertainment district. So again, been very fortunate. I've gotten to do a lot of different things in the 20 years, going on 21 years that I've been here.
You both bring some great experience to the table. What
And a lot of community a
Yes.
community-oriented
Correct.
positions where they are dealing with the public on a daily basis, which is what our office does all the time. I mean, that's
Absolutely.
its main function. So it's a wealth of experience with that.
And so what attracted you?
It's maybe a little bit like Ben. It's a completely different function of policing than I've done in the 20 years, and so a lot more interaction with media, interaction with the public. Although in the mounted unit, bike unit, there was a lot of public relations, crime prevention officer there was as well, but this is just a little bit different. And you already brought it up, the demand and the call for information that people want
The
at this
fast
point.
pace.
The fast pace. It's completely different than anything I've done in my career so far. So, not to repeat what Sergeant Hauser said, but the challenge of that at this point in my career, to do something different, to remain challenged, is what kind of drew me to the position.
Okay, good, wonderful. Thanks again, and welcome.
Thanks.
And so Bob, I know why you're in it. You're in it for the money. Bob's a
We're
volunteer.
going to give him a raise.
Yeah.
He's going to get 10%. 10% is zero, still zero, but we love you.
And I believe you were on the show. We were showcasing volunteers, but you have a pivotal role in this office. I mean, I don't know how this office could function without your support and help. Are you still doing redactions?
Redactions,
Yeah.
primary audio redactions, where there'd be 911 calls to the department, and do auto redactions for personal information and victim information, and then when applicable, photograph and videography as needed, and other redactions of police reports as the sergeant or the officer would request, and any special requests that we have through the department where I can assist them.
You know, we get so many public records requests over the course of the year. Media, even private citizens, attorneys, people that were involved in something that are looking for some copy of the record, and the demand to get all that done and get that done on a timely basis is just can be pretty overwhelming. Yes. And the fact that you actually provide that service, don't you ever leave. You know?
And you've been here how many years, Bob? You've served in the department?
16 years as of last December, yes.
It's amazing.
Well, thank you so much.
You're quite welcome.
Again, as I mentioned before, I'm not too sure we could do it without your help and support. You're just phenomenal.
Well,
so thank you for that.
It's an enjoyable experience.
And then we want to just mention John Sloan,
yes,
who's another volunteer in the office. And unfortunately for him, he went out of town to be with his family, so he's missed the show today. But he also, I want to acknowledge him. I'm sorry, Sarge, if I'm taking your thunder here, but he also does so much for the office as far as the newsletter and membership. He does a lot for SIPA, so I just want to acknowledge him as well. And he's been with the department over 10 years,
yes.
12 years, something like that as well.
Another great volunteer. Okay, so having said all that, this is your office. Who are you? What do you do? What exactly do you do?
I do all the outreach programs, and I assist the PIO office if they need me. And basically, our whole office works for the office of the chief, and we are responsible for anything that the chiefs need us to do. Not only you, but also the other assistant chiefs.
I think what's important to note, though, Chris, is that you support both internally and externally the organization and the community. There's plenty of things that you provide internally to the organization in terms of managing and producing and putting programs together that help the organization run. But then also you do a lot of work outside the community with this program and your involvement with SIPAs and the Citizens Academy and all the other things that you do to support the department. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And we don't always showcase what you do. They see you here, but they don't know exactly all the other things that keep you busy.
Right, a lot of internal and external programs, thus the name Community Liaison. So I try to be the liaison between the department and the public and your office.
Thank you. So guys, so what challenges are facing police and community and media relations today? I mean, that's almost a question that says, wow, is everybody paying attention? Everything is the answer probably, but I know there's some specific challenges to our jobs now that you all are facing, new in your job, but facing currently. So what are those issues?
Well, I would say that some of our most current challenges are keeping the information flowing from the police department to the public. You know, the public has this desire, as they should, to know what's going on in their city and when it relates to crimes or things that we're involved with. And we as a police department need to, as quickly as we can without ruining an investigation, get information out to the public. So that's one of our challenges. Another one of our challenges is to try to keep up with the changing information sharing that's going on out there. And that deals with social media. You know, a lot of folks are no longer getting their news from newspapers because they're starting to go away, or maybe even not from radio. They're getting it from the computer, from Facebook, from Twitter, and any of these other social media sites. So one of our challenges is to improve and to try to reach more viewers or people that need our information on these social media platforms.
You know, our world has really changed, and it changes so rapidly it's hard to even keep up. And we do try to stay on top of the new technologies, the new media outlets. I can remember years ago, my wife back east, when we were a young married couple, worked in the media section. And literally, you know, you could take time to get a story together, get facts together. Newspapers' deadlines were necessarily like yesterday, and you could actually get things in some sort of order before you present. And today there's breaking news, what's happening now, what are the facts if you know them at the moment, knowing full well that things can change rather quickly and the truth changes in what we know. And that can create some real challenges for us. I literally have been giving speeches and had somebody raise their hand and say, Chief, what's going on down the street? And it's like, I don't know, I'm standing here giving you a speech, but they're receiving a message or an alert of some kind saying accident, burglary, whatever, just down the street, be aware. And it's like, really? I mean, we have to stay on top of that, manage that message, and I'm sure that's a huge challenge for you all. On top of the issues where people are looking into things that have occurred perhaps in the past, and you have to do some research to get that information together, which, Bob, is when you come in to redact information and make sure that confidential information that shouldn't get out is protected.
Exactly.
And so there's that real delicate balance of dealing with the here and now, the happening at the moment, to the reporting things that have occurred in the past and making sure the facts get out. Because you're right, the public has a right to know. Many times they have a need to know and a desire to know. And it makes us all safer if the public knows what's going on in their community.
Absolutely.
And this is, I think, a change in expectation of the availability of information and the speed of that availability. And we've always, I think, prided ourselves on our level of customer service. And so it's with that change and that expectation, we're trying to meet that expectation because we still want to provide that service. We're just, we're doing it in a different way now, and so it does make it difficult. And we wouldn't be able to do it just in my short time in the position without the volunteers. There's just no possible way that it would happen. And so we are very, very fortunate to have some volunteers with the tenure that they have and the experience that they have and the professionalism that they have and the understanding of that level of customer service that we're trying to achieve. Really, I think makes, I can speak for myself, makes my job easier because we're kind of all on the same page and trying to the same work product in the end.
You just mentioned managing expectations, which is huge, because any delay, people are suspect of that. Like, why was there a delay in getting this information out? And our reason for that delay is we want to make sure it's factual, that there's something behind it that we know really did occur, and we're not just putting rumors out there.
Correct.
Because rumors lead to misunderstandings. And so I get that, because it looks like you're delaying. So you have to manage those expectations so people say, okay, we're getting the information that's available to us, and we're getting it on a timely basis.
Right, and with the 24-hour news cycle, it's even worse, because it's not like when we were growing up and it was news came on at 6 o'clock on 3 channels. And like you said, Sarge, with so many sources to get information. And then, of course, you also have to have to be delicate with some information, because if it's a crime, of course, we want the public's help to get a suspect on maybe a crime, but there might just be some information we cannot release, not because we don't want to, but because it'll compromise the case. And maybe you can touch on that.
And we also have a victim on the other end usually, as well. There's always a victim associated, so.
Yeah, many times we'll withhold information when it comes to juveniles. So if a juvenile is a victim of a crime, we won't release that information because we can't release people under 18. Victims of certain crimes, sexual assault and other crimes, we won't release their information to protect their privacy and things like that. So there is certain information that we don't want to go out to protect those folks. And certain witnesses in other crimes, you know, they don't want to be made public in certain situations.
Right.
So that's sort of managing, you know, current events and, you know, crimes that may have occurred, serious accidents that may have occurred. That's kind of getting that information out. But you also do something else in the PIO's office. You also talk about things that are going on within the department, the community, and, you know, it's safety issues, safety messages. We talk about crime prevention issues. You also have a huge role and responsibility getting some of that information out and advertising the openness of the organization where information is available to the community. So how do you deal with that message in terms of putting messages out to the public and maintaining websites?
Well, we try to, you look at me, I look at you. We try to, every time we do a media interview with one of the news stations or with one of the news sources, we try to take the topic and put out a safety message at the end. So a case in point, for example, we had a couple months ago, we had a distraction burglar that was hitting the south part of our city. And we later found out that this distraction burglar was also hitting Phoenix and I think parts out in Apache Junction. And what this person was doing is they were distracting some of our elderly residents, having them leave their home or go to the backyard, and then another burglar was coming in the house to steal property. And so when we reported on our incident, I think we had 2 of them at the time. At the end of that, we wanted to portray to the media and to get out to the public, hey, don't let anybody in your house that you don't recognize. You know, companies like APS and SRP are not going to send somebody out to your home unsolicited. If you don't, you know, if you're afraid or if you're suspicious of someone, don't let them in your home. Make a call first to find out. So those type of messages we like to send out to make people aware and make them more safe in the public. And of course that moves on to any other message that we're trying or any other situation that we're talking about.
And why that's so critical for us is that in the old days of policing, we would respond to take a report, do whatever investigation you can do, and document and go on to the next call. Is there was really no relationship or partnership with the community,
Right.
and it's really important to let people know we're just not going to write a report and hope to catch the bad guy somewhere down the road. We want to make it very difficult for people to come into our community and commit crime. And so we want an educated public, and we want a public that's in partnership with us. So they see this or something happens, they know to call us right away. We still combat that idea you got permission to call 911. I didn't want to bother you.
Right.
And we tell people, bother us, we're up all night, that's what we're there for.
Right.
We want something to do. So please, keep us busy and keep us busy preventing crime versus having to write a report about somebody being a victim of crime. And so it's really important that the citizens know that this is a partnership, and part of the conduit of that information about how to keep themselves safe is going to come out of our public information office. We've got crime prevention officers,
Correct.
and Kevin, you were one at the local district stations, and they have a key role there. But but I think the oversight and the bigger opportunities are when you have the access to the media, then get the message out in a large scale.
Absolutely, and I think we talked about the challenges with social media and some of that instant information. At the same time, it's an exciting time for us because it does give us the opportunity to get information out quicker, faster, easier, and quite frankly, it's given us the opportunity to highlight some of the things that our officers are doing every single day in this community. And aside from writing tickets and some of those things that people think that's all police do, it gives us the opportunity to spotlight the good things that they're doing every single day. And to me, that's really exciting and a big part of the job that we have right now.
So do you manage any social media sites from your office?
Yeah, we
So which ones are we managing out of your office?
right now, well, before we came to the office, Sergeant Clark and Officer Pubens did a great job of establishing our Twitter account.
Okay.
So we had, when we came into the office, Twitter account had over 10,000 followers. So that was up and running and going well, but we didn't have a good Facebook, or we had a Facebook account, but we were sharing it and it didn't have a lot of followers. So one thing that Kevin and I did right away was start working on getting that established. So now we were able to launch our Scottsdale PD Facebook page and get a bunch of followers to start following that. And so now we have those two running, and then we're looking into maybe starting other platforms to reach more viewers or more folks, more citizens.
So I'm not really into Facebook or anything. So for those out there that don't, if they get onto Facebook, what information would be on there?
Many times when we have a major arrest or a major situation that the news is asking us for, when we give the news a report, we'll put it on the city website so that folks can find it. The news will obviously get it from our emails, and then what we'll do is Kevin and I one of us will take it and then push it out to Twitter and Facebook, I shouldn't say Twitter and Facebook, so that those people who follow us or like us on those two platforms will get the same information or similar information that the media gets. So they'll have their news in that
And
format.
that's a free service. You can
Absolutely.
sign up. You just go online.
Just you want to be a
and you
friend of
sign up.
Scottsdale PD
Yeah, on
Facebook, right?
Twitter and Facebook, a person goes into the computer and they will create an account, add their personal information, however they want to create it, and then they can go and find us on those platforms. And in Facebook situation, they'll like us, and that means they'll be able to see what we're doing. And in Twitter, they will follow us.
That's great.
Now, there are some websites out there that will actually give up-to-the-minute kind of traffic information, news reports. That's Raids Online I know we're using. I don't know who manages Raids Online. Is that managed out of your office?
No, I don't
Okay, so
It's
it's probably
not
managed out of
our
a different office.
That's
But
correct.
that's also a free service where people can find information about their individual communities.
Correct, and
So you
updated daily.
Go online, sign up for Raids Online, and you get, I get it at home, you get information coming in through your neighborhood saying this has occurred. And there's some other websites that will give you traffic information for travel. I don't know if it's Raids Online, but
I know that Arizona Department of Transportation will.
Okay.
The city may have theirs. What we try to do is there's so much information out there. We try to refer as many of our citizens as we can to the city website. The Scottsdale City website is very well managed. We have a lot of staff here in the city that take care of the overall city umbrella, so to speak. And so when we push our information out to the media about our crimes and things, we'll put it on the city website. And then the city also has information from our garbage department, traffic department, and all that, water department. So we try to house everything out so that people can find information from raids and
So there's
other
so
departments.
many different
Yes.
areas for them to look for.
Right. So
So-
if they don't find it with us, they can find it through the city site.
And that's just scottsdaleaz.gov.
Correct.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Bob, how are you?
Very good, Chief. Thank you.
I'm keeping you away from work, aren't I?
No, yes, you. Thank you.
So what are your challenges? What are you? I mean, you're one guy doing the work of many, I know.
Well, I think it's in concert with the sergeant officer indicated is the continual changes that we've seen in new technologies and things that have occurred and continue to be upgraded so that we can work with those new moduses to keep on top of the best way to be efficient and effective and work with the officers and the department and of course the records department to make sure that we respond in a quick manner. And we've increased the efficiencies by new software platforms and things to that effect, which has really helped tremendously in the turnaround time for requests for documents.
Yeah. And I think coming down the pike, one of the biggest challenges for us is going to be body-worn cameras and the data that we collect from body-worn
Yeah.
cameras and how
Somebody's gonna have to get that out.
and the public asking for copies of that either for trial purposes,
Yes.
courtroom purposes, or any other reason they may want to get copies of an incident that involved them. And so we've got some real big issues coming down the pike in regard to police, community, media relations, open records rules, and so we're kind of making this up as we go along a little bit because this is all new to us.
Right.
Yet there's some rules governing things we have to
respond.
do and how we have to respond and how we have to perform, and so managing all that is going to be a huge challenge for you guys. And I just want you to know how much I appreciate all the hard work you do to get the information out as quickly as you get it out, make it accurate, keep the community well informed and well protected. It's a tremendous responsibility, and I appreciate all that you do, and thank you all very much.
And I think
you.
I can speak for the team. I think we could do it.
I think
Yeah.
We can handle it. We're up for the challenge, Chief.
Somehow I included her in that.
We're up for the challenge, Chief. We can handle it.
Very much.
This is going to be a fabulous month for us, and so you'll see us probably next month in February after all the major events, and we still have some major events in February as well. Our season goes until April, a little bit into April, but we'll look more exhausted next month, I think, by the time we get through this, because everybody's working. But I do want to thank you guys ahead of time because you'll have to manage all of that as well.
Yes, that's on
And
top
so we
of
appreciate that.
everything that we do every day as
No,
well.
absolutely. Well, thank you guys again.
Thank
and
you.
Chris, thank
Thank
you.
you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
And
Thank you.
Thank you.
that's another month here at Behind the Badge. We look forward to seeing you next month, and be safe and take care. Thank you so much for watching. Bye now.